Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight for the ULDC Rewrite Second Draft Virtual Community Workshop. We're going to give it just a few minutes to let people jump on and join. The agenda is posted for you to kind of peruse while we wait, and we'll get started in a few minutes here. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. So once again, I'd like to thank everyone for joining us for the ULDC Rewrite Second Draft Public Workshop. I'm the Planning and Zoning Division Manager, Nicole Galehouse. Here with me tonight, I have Noah Fossick, who's a planner, Sherry Hillette-Grondin, who's the zoning coordinator, and Ria Lopez, who is a planner 3. And then virtually with us as well, we have our consultant from the Calvin Giordano and Associates project team, Louis Cerna. So we are excited that we're getting to this next step with this project. We're getting very close to the end. And so with that, I will turn it over to Louis to give us a project background and then presentation of the proposed changes. Actually, before I do that, let me go over a couple housekeeping things in terms of how this platform works. Our screen is shared with you, so any documents we're talking about will be shared on our screen. If you have questions, there's a live event Q&A. You can submit those to us, and we can either respond directly to you or publish them. And then at the end, when we do some Q&A, we'll kind of read the questions out loud and provide you with answers. So please, if you have questions, submit them in that live event Q&A, and we will respond to them when we get to that part of the workshop. So thank you very much, and I'll turn it over to Louis.
All right, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. This has been a long process, so just to bring you up to speed, if you weren't involved from the beginning of this, I just wanted to give you a little bit of project background. This project initially began in August of 2019, so quite a bit ago. It was at a time before anyone had heard of COVID, so obviously when we started this process, our workshops and public engagement events were a lot different than they are today, but we're adapting with the times. It has been a long process due to a lot of things. I did want to back up and just say we are discussing the second draft of the ULDC, so we are at that point. This draft is available on the city's website. Just need to point out, though, this is the second draft is subject to further review. Staff is undergoing quite a bit of review to make sure that all their direction, all the commission's direction has been incorporated into it. We're also taking public input, obviously, tonight. And so we just want to let you know that it is a second draft, but this draft is going to be is currently being reviewed and will be changing likely, especially the sign chapter and the sections in regard to trees. Those are going a little bit further, undergoing a little bit of further review, but just want to let you know where we are. Again, we started this back in August of 2019. We started with a series of meetings with city staff. We held work sessions and public forum in October of 2019. The way we started is we really wanted to start with the high level issues, the major issues with the code, and then also discuss the organization of the document. So we started high level before we got down into the weeds with individual sections. We wanted to find out what the major issues were and what were the concerns about the layout. Those issues were discussed, and on June of 2019, we presented a report to the city of major issues and recommendations. That report was accepted by the city. We began working on the first draft, starting with our outline and starting with the high-level discussion of issues. We developed the first draft of the code for presentation to the city. That was completed in November of 2019. So we started high level. We got down to the first draft with the actual language in November of 2019. So between the first draft and the current draft, we've been working on making sure that the direction that we received was adequately reflected in the draft. We wanted to make sure that there were no internal conflicts. We wanted to make sure that there was additional policy direction given after that from the city, from staff, and from the commission to make some additional changes. So between last November and this current draft, which was completed at the beginning of this year, we are working on making all those revisions. So those have been incorporated into the second draft. And as I indicated, this draft is still undergoing quite a bit of review. Ultimately, as a result of the review and as a result of public input, we will prepare an adoption version of the ULDC that will be presented at public hearings. And ultimately, the goal is to have this approved by April. So there's still a lot of work to do, but we have a document in a format that addresses the direction that we received from the city. We've addressed major issues. We've addressed formatting. And also, I want to point out, part of our charge as a consultants, there are going to be a lot of issues that are not addressed in the code, things that had come up at public meetings, things that we saw, that we are going to, at the end of this process, prepare a list of items for future consideration by the city. This will take into account all the public input that we received, all the things brought up by staff, but these are things that are going to require more public input and they're going to require more analysis. We'd like the city to, after this ULDC is adopted, to take a look at those and prioritize those for future consideration. So we want you to know that if you have public input, if you have input on this document and it does not appear in the final version because it requires additional public hearings perhaps or additional analysis, we want to make sure that you know that those concerns will be passed along to the City Commission for future consideration. So that's the background. The next item I'd like to go into, item 3 on the agenda, is a presentation of our proposed major changes to the ULDC. And these are not an exhaustive list of the changes to the ULDC. These are just what we see as major changes. And I'd like to go over these for your review. Staff is still working on a separate list, and we hope to combine these lists for the final presentation. Let me put this up on the screen. I'm going to take a moment here to share that screen, if I could. Bear with me. There we go. All right, I'm still waiting for this to come up. It should be up shortly. There we go. All right, can everyone see that okay? All right, so just going to briefly run through a list of these. Again, these are just what we see as major changes to the document. The first item that we have there is removing language throughout the document regarding relationship to the comprehensive plan. If you're familiar with the code, every section has references policies. in the comprehensive plan that the section relates to. Some of the policies cited are no longer valid. So it's a direction of staff and the commission, and we agree that those sections could be removed from the document. The next item is that we consolidated language from individual articles regarding appeals. Again, this is will greatly shorten the document. It's language that repeats in every chapter, but we consolidated that into a single chapter of appeals and interpretations. Appeals will be in chapter 7, interpretations will be in chapter 1. We removed, the third item is we remove language throughout the document referencing specific fees. Our recommendation is that those fees be adopted by resolution instead, and that way they're easier to change throughout the process. And again, it just streamlines the document. Item 4 is that we've updated language throughout the document related to assisted living, group homes, foster care, and adult daycare facilities for consistency with state of Florida regulations. This was an item recommended by the city, and we've agreed to that, and it definitely makes sense that those sections definitely needed updating. Number 5, we've updated a list of amending ordinances. This is a running list throughout the code, and that's been updated. Number 6 is we've changed the code enforcement board to a hearing officer, section 118. Number 7, we've consolidated definitions into a single chapter of the code. This is, I think, something very important. All the definitions will now appear in a single chapter. We got rid of a lot of conflicting definitions throughout the document. Hopefully this will make it easier. And we've gotten rid of a lot of definitions that did not appear anywhere in the ULDC. So again, hopefully streamlining the document, making it easier to read. Number 8, to promote additional housing options, we revised the definitions of multifamily in chapter 2 to include detached dwelling units located on a single parcel. And we've discussed this with the commission in the past and with staff. Item 9 is we've added requirements for developments with canal or retention ditch frontage to remove invasive vegetation. This was a request of city staff, the city permitting staff. Number 10, we've established a simplified review process for new single family and duplex developments. This was, we worked quite closely with city staff on this. It's just something that makes sense, hopefully streamlines the process for simpler sorts of permit reviews for single family and duplex developments. That's found in section 3-5 of the second draft. Number 11, we've added requirements to avoid the construction of steep slopes. Section 3-55, that was an item requested by staff. Item 12, we've established a simplified review process for minor additions to major site plans. Again, this is something that really makes sense. We work closely with staff on this language. Again, hopefully streamlining the process for simple reviews. 13, we've simplified the review process for infrastructure plans. Same sort of reasoning and same working with staff. 14, we've added procedures for lot splits, lot line adjustments, and combination of lots. These are commonly found in other codes, and this is something that staff wanted to see in this ULDC. So we've added that language in Article 3 of Chapter 3 of the second draft. Excuse me. Number 15, we've changed the names of some of the uses in the zoning district regulations so that terms are used consistently across zoning districts. That's really just a housekeeping item. So when people are looking for certain uses, the same language is used across zoning districts. So we've done some cleanup with that. Item 16, we renamed the agricultural district to the residential estate district. This was direction of the City Commission. It is to really reflect that there is really not there's really not agriculture in the city. It's more of a residential estate district. So the name has been changed to reflect that. Number 17, this was pretty major issue, but we've combined the neighborhood commercial high and neighborhood commercial low districts into a single district. Again, staff and the city had the reasons for doing this based on past experiences and past uses. So at their direction, we've done that combination. Number 18, there was a combination of the residential single family and the residential two family districts into a single residential district. And again, this is direction by the city to really reflect how they'd like to see the city develop with those zoning districts.
Louis?
Yes.
Sorry, I'm going to chime in here. I just got some feedback that we're having some buffering and the sound going in and out. So I wanted to try to see if we could slow down just a little bit. You know, okay. I super appreciate how fast we're going through this, but I think for sound quality, we might need to slow down a little bit.
Okay, real good. Yeah, I'll move closer to my microphone too. Hopefully that'll help.
Thank you.
But yeah, and again, I know I'm going through a lot of information, so at any time, feel free to submit your comments and questions, and we can definitely back up and discuss some of these in more detail, because like I said, these are major issues that we're hitting on, and there's a lot to them, even though I'm really skimming over them. Number 18 is that's the one I just discussed. We've combined the residential single family and the residential two family districts into a single residential district. So a combining of two zoning districts into a single district. Number 19, we've eliminated the residential open space district, and number 20, the commercial recreation districts. And these are two districts that appear in the ULDC but do not appear in the city, so the city did not see a need to keep those. Number 21, we're proposing changing all of the commercial general properties that are located in activity centers to planned community development district zoning. So basically changing the zoning, the districts of those, changing the commercial general properties that are in activity centers to PCD, basically. Number 22, we propose changing all commercial general properties that are not located in activity centers to neighborhood commercial. So again, some major direction, policy direction by the city that has been incorporated into this second draft. Number 23, we've added standards for the location of residential units in the conservation district. This was something that city staff wanted to have. I guess these uses are permitted in conservation, but we wanted to add some standards for the location of residential in conservation. So not something that is common, but something that needed to be addressed. Number 24, we've added attached residential dwelling units as uses allowed in commercial general S, light industrial and warehouse, office professional institutional OPI, commercial redevelopment low impact CRL, and the CRL district. So in these 4 districts, we've added residential dwelling units. This was direction by the city to basically allow more residential options throughout the city. So this is something that appears in Article 5 of Chapter 4. Number 25, we've added dwelling units as accessory uses in the CRL district and the ILW districts. These are, again, to expand housing choices. Dwelling units are listed as proposed as accessory uses in these 2 districts. Number 26, we moved buffering standards in the neighborhood commercial district to landscape buffering. So we've moved them from the zoning district to the landscape buffering section of the code. It's really no change, but really just a change in location of these standards, just to make them make the code more user-friendly. 27, we've added tasting rooms as an accessory use in the ILW district, and we've added a corresponding definition of tasting rooms to the ULDC. This was based on quite a bit of discussion with city staff on potential and some, I guess, real applications that they've been seeing. Number 28, we've added a provision that states that residential accessory uses shall not count towards the maximum percentage of allowable residential land uses in certain activity centers. Again, this is another item that was added to promote the city's desire to have additional housing options in the city. Number 29, we've added specific standards of compliance with the city's low impact development standards. The city has a requirement that developments comply with low impact development standards, but it did not have a list of how that was implemented. So we added standards to provide guidance on how developments can comply with these low impact development standards, and that's found in section 5-19C of the second draft. Number 30, we've added a requirement in Activity Center 1 that all street lights, signposts, and signal poles, including traffic signals, intersection signals, and any other signals, shall be city center green, and clarified what the standard is for this color. That was based on direction by the city. And it's basically a design standard. And I haven't been keeping up with my screen, but all right, number 31, we've added provisions regarding protected species and the submittal of wildlife surveys to various sections of the code. And this was pointed out by city staff as something that was needed. So we've added those provisions regarding protected species and wildlife surveys. Number 32, we've added criteria for granting waivers just to give the city some guidance, and that's found in section 725. And we've added criteria for granting appeals, that's found in section 729. So really just to give the city some more guidance on how to make decisions regarding appeals and waivers to make these more legally defensible as well. Number 34, we've added procedures for approval of comprehensive plan amendments. That's section 8-10. Number 35, we've changed the Public Art Committee to Art Advisory Board. This is just to reflect the current name of that board by the city. Number 36, something we work closely with staff on is we've established a tiered approach for the review and approval of alcohol-related uses, section 9-48B, and we've added associated definitions including brew pubs, bottle clubs, distilleries, microbreweries, and tap rooms. So these are things that these are items that the city sees. They review applications for alcohol-related uses. So based on staff direction, working with them, we've established a new tiered approach, which looks really good and I think reflects what the reality is of what the city is seeing and what they'd like to see in regard to these uses. Again, that's section 9-48B. Number 37, we've eliminated minimum size requirements for guest houses and guest apartments, section 9-48P, and I think that was direction by the City Commission as well. Number 38, we've added standards for accessory uses to houses of worship, section 9-48 1-48Q. So basically, this section addresses what is allowed as an accessory to a house of worship to prevent, the primary use from actually not being overwhelmed by the accessory uses. Section 39, we've updated the priority tree list within the tree protection regulations. That was City Commission direction, and we work closely with staff. Again, that tree section that I'm going to discuss in the next few items, that's still undergoing a lot of review. That was something that the city had started, city staff with the commission had started on their own, and the intent was to approve this prior to the ULDC being complete and then roll it into the ULDC. But because of various reasons, these changes are now being added to the second draft, and we're going to try to incorporate that, but we need to make sure that we capture the city's direction accurately. So a lot of these are still undergoing quite a bit of review, but these are just some of the direction items that we received that we've added in there, but definitely need to take a closer look at the language. I mentioned the priority tree list within Article 5 of Chapter 11.
Louis?
Yes.
I'm sorry. I know we have a little bit of a lag on our end with the participants and what they see, but we're getting quite a few comments that the slide is not updated, and it's relatively small on our screen, so I'm having trouble trying to make sure. Are you on the right page of your document?
I believe I am. Let me see.
Okay.
But let me make it larger.
Okay,
so,
thank
yeah, I
you.
appreciate that.
Yeah, even if you have to go back to like the regular view in Word, I think it might be better to just scroll along with that than trying to do the full screen.
Okay, well, does that look better, or do you want me to go back to the?
Just the regular.
Maybe try the regular.
Okay. Let me see.
If you press escape, it should take you back.
Okay, thank you.
Hopefully.
Is that better? Look.
Yeah, that's definitely much better. And then again, just try to remember that there's a little bit of a lag for those watching. So,
Okay. Yeah, I'll try to. I'll try to make sure the slides stand up or I'll stay with the slide. So okay. Yeah, I was on 39. We updated the priority tree list. Item 40, we clarified exemptions from tree removal permitting, including for agriculture and silviculture. That's in Article 5 of Chapter 5. Again, that was all City Commission direction, working with staff. Number 41, added requirement to tree removal permit for demonstration of no adverse impacts to endangered and threatened species or to migratory birds. Again, that's been incorporated into the latest draft. Number 42, we added a requirement that trees that are relocated or replaced in accordance with the tree protection regulations must be replaced if they die within 7 years of planting. Okay, number 43, which should be on your screen. We added a point basis by species for determining which trees are classified as heritage trees. So basically, this allows the city to determine what's a heritage tree, not based on a single diameter, but based on points, based on the species of tree in part. So again, City Commission direction on what constitutes a heritage tree. Again, there are other changes, other direction by the city that we're working on incorporating into the tree section, and that will be forthcoming on working with staff additionally on that. So again, the trees and again signs are which is undergoing legal review are two items that I think we're paying extra close attention to make sure that we've captured all of that. Moving to out of trees, number 44 is we've added standards for the location of parking and drive-throughs along multimodal transportation facilities. That's section 12-8. Number 45, we've added a requirement for electrical vehicle charging stations for certain developments, section 12-9. Number 46, we've added minimum bicycle parking standards, section 12-9B. Number 47, we've added maximum parking standards, section 12-9C. I think these two parking changes that we made regarding bicycle parking and maximum parking standards are going to go a long ways into getting the sort of development that the city indicated they'd like to see, making it more bike friendly and making sure there's not an overabundance of parking. Number 48, we've added a parking reduction for specific developments, section 12-10. So again, it just allows, this is to really allow flexibility for certain developments that perhaps we've not seen a unique use that has its own parking standards. This just allows staff to make parking reductions based on certain uses. And again, that's section 12-10. Number 49, again, this is the sign regulations, chapter 13. Generally, we have reviewed this section to make sure that this we've removed language regarding sign content. And we've patterned this chapter after the International Municipal Lawyers Association Model Code. So this is direction from the city in regard to the Model Code. The regulation of content is to make the sign regulations subject to the, it's not really a recent, but the Supreme Court's, I guess, sort of recent decision on sign regulation. So it's really just making it more legally defensible. So again, I've gone through 49 items. These were pretty major issues. I know I've just skimmed them. So we can definitely go back to a lot of these if I did not explain them adequately. And I can even refer to the code. A lot of these issues I'd like to point out too as well these were addressed and discussed with the City Commission during the first draft. So I've repeated a lot of these items, but they bear repeating with the second draft because these, again, are major issues that the city directed us as consultants to include in the ULDC. So we think they're important changes. Just another item I'd like to, moving out of the major issues, we have done a lot on formatting of the document. Ultimately, this document will be, the format of it will be more user-friendly, something that the public can hopefully find things easier. We've added headers and footers indicating which section you're in whenever you're on a page. We've added just other items to make it easier to review. The electronic version will be searchable, and it will have an electronic table of content that will make it easier to navigate. So I think with the outline that we've done and with the formatting, it's going to be really a much more user-friendly document. The presentation document will ultimately be put in ordinance format, so you're just really going to get the content with the ordinance that the city adopts, but the final version that will be given to the public and the staff will be the user-friendly version that'll be easier to read, easier to navigate. We've been asked several times, will this be a shorter document? The answer to that is yes, it will be shorter because we've eliminated a lot of duplication. We've eliminated, like I said, a lot of definitions that aren't even in the code. So it will be a shorter document. I can't tell you how many pages because we're still editing it. So there's not an easy way to tell you how many, at the end of the day, how many pages that it'll be. But again, we believe it will be a shorter document and much easier to use for the public. Again, I want to move us back into what the content of what the changes that were made. So if you have any questions on that, we'd be glad to go through that. I think at this point in the agenda, we are at the point where we are going to take public input and hopefully answer questions that you may have. And again, I apologize for going through this quickly, but we did have a lot of, it is a large document. There are a lot of issues. If you're not familiar, if you're new to this process, it may have sounded foreign, but again, the document is available. City staff is available. I'm available to help answer any of your questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Louis. At this point, we would like to answer some of your questions. It looks like we've received a question. The question reads, isn't the ULDC the blueprint for the comprehensive plan? How can its relationship to the comprehensive plan be removed? I think Nicole will answer that.
Yes, the ULDC is actually the implementation of the comprehensive plan. So the comprehensive plan sets out the overarching policies and guidelines that the ULDC then regulates. So the relationship to the comprehensive plan when we say that that's being removed, what we're referring to is actually parts of our code right now that simply regurgitate the exact language from the comp plan. So it says, relationship to the comprehensive plan, and then it quotes the comprehensive plan. So the relationship is still there. Like the code, the ULDC will still align with the comprehensive plan. We're just removing the redundant language. It makes it difficult for us to monitor if we make a change to the comp plan. And we also have to make a code amendment, and they really should be two freestanding documents on their own.
And part of our review, just to add to that, we did review the code for consistency with the comp plan. So yeah, Nicole is absolutely correct. This code is intended to implement the comp plan. So we did do a search for any inconsistencies and we did make sure that there were, if there was inconsistent language, that was justified. So what we talked about removing, as Nicole indicated, we really removed repeated language.
At this point, we have not received any other questions, but I would like to remind everyone in attendance that if you do have any further questions, we have an email at uldc@cityofnorthport.com. You can leave any questions there. Please just provide us with any contact information that you would like us to contact you with, and we will get back to you as quick as possible with those replies.
All right, so we'll definitely give a few more minutes here for people to put in any questions or comments they have. The document is available on the ULDC website, which is hosted by CGA, but available through the city's website. So if you go under planning and zoning and ULDC rewrite, I believe you can get to it that way. Additionally, I'll take a few minutes while we wait and see if we get any more questions to come in and talk about what the next steps are from here. So from this point, for the next several weeks, the city staff will be going through a very intense review of this document. So we are going through to make sure every consensus item has been implemented. We're making sure all code changes that have taken place over the last couple of years are accurately reflected. We're looking for spelling, grammar, you name it, anything in there we are looking for. We're looking to make sure our definitions match what's in the code and that they make sense as we're cleaning up our definitions, that we didn't change something in the context of the code language. So we're doing a very, very heavy, thorough review of the document. So when it does come before move forward for public hearings, that it is a very thorough and clean document. Moving forward, our next step will be going to the Planning and Zoning Advisory Board with the document. We are anticipating doing this in February. From there, we will be going to the City Commission 3 times. So our first meeting with the City Commission is going to be a regular meeting. However, we'll kind of do it a little more workshop style, where we kind of go through the meat and potatoes of the code rewrite with them and really get into any substantive changes that need to be made. From there, we'll move forward with a first reading of the document and then a second reading and adoption. So, you know, that's something that we're very excited about, and it's happening very quickly at this point. So we are full steam ahead right now. To give some context, a couple other things that are coming along with this are a amendment to the code of the city. There are things being pulled out of the Unified Land Development Code that will need to be put into the code of the city. So we're working on that. And then finally, we're working on a citywide rezone, because as Louis mentioned, we are removing the commercial general zoning district. We're combining other zoning districts. And so we want our zoning map to reflect that accurately at the time of adoption. So we will be bringing that forward as well, so to make sure everything is clean and ready to go. So I haven't seen any more questions come in. Louis, do you have anything else you want to add? Maybe try to give it just a couple more minutes for, I know there's a delay from audio, so if we can just try to give a couple more minutes for any questions to come through, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, I'd just like to add, yeah, the city staff is doing a lot of work on this right now. I think all of us working on this have come to realize that when you make a minor change in one section, many times it has ripple effects throughout this document. So that's why I think we're taking our time and doing a very thorough review to try to catch any of those possible problems that may occur. But and again, we want to accurately reflect what the direction that we've been given is. So I think we're being very careful on that. So a lot of hard work is going into this on behalf by the city.
Thank you. All right, so I haven't seen anything else come through. As Noah said, if you have any questions, they can be emailed to uldc@cityofnorthport.com. Any questions or comments? So if you have any recommendations, anything we get through there, we plan to synthesize and include in agenda items as they move forward to the commission. And we will also be posting this video on our website within the next couple days. So if you want to go back and listen to something again, or have any questions, you know, that are based off this, we will make that available for that. And with that, I will say have a great evening, everyone, and we look forward to the next steps in this project.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.